What's up, everybody, and welcome to the SaveState. Today we're going to be talking about the Batgirl cover controversy with our all-white, all-male cast, and we're going to put our feet in our mouths and offend everybody.
No.
Let's not do that. But in all seriousness, we're going to try to do our best to not offend everybody and actually have a good, well-rounded conversation about this situation. My name is Landon Barton. I'm your host for this. I'm joined with Garrick Enright and Barclay Sylvester. So, to catch people up, what has actually happened here?
What has actually happened here? There's a cover for Batgirl. It's an alternative.
It's a variant,
yeah, for DC's 75th anniversary.
Yeah, it's an alt cover, so it's not even the real cover, but it does show Batgirl with Joker makeup. We'll show a picture, but it's got the Joker behind her, and she looks terrified, and it immediately evokes the feeling of sexual assault.
Right, it harkens back to Alan Moore's Killing Joke.
Yeah, The Killing Joke, which is one of the most prolific Joker scenes and stories of all time. And the reason why they're doing this, like, there's all of the Batman universe comic books right now are having a Joker variant. DC's calling this Joker Month, I think, is the official title for it. So, along with the 75th anniversary, they're just highlighting him and Batman's villains.
And we know that the Joker is not by any means the funny villain.
No, yeah, he's pretty effed up.
Yeah.
So where does the controversy really lie here? Is it what they're evoking in the image? That was the artist for this, by the way, is Raphael Albuquerque. I hope I'm saying that properly. But
QQ.
Yeah, QQ. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people are upset. A lot of people wanted it pulled. DC, I believe, did go ahead and pull it, which they have all the rights to do. Yeah, the artist requested to have it pulled. He just kind of wanted to avoid the controversy, it seems like.
Yeah, the controversy that I understand it was, like I said earlier, it just evokes this sexual assault vibe, and some people were obviously unhappy with it. But then when they started complaining about it and started asking that it be pulled, they were actually threatened with being assaulted themselves. And so there are actually threats of physical violence against the people who were,
which is really sad. I mean,
yeah.
I think a lot of people are viewing part of this as like various different images can be triggers for people who have been sexually assaulted, and this is a very blatant and like it's right there, you know. And so some people are feeling this is a trigger and they want it pulled just for the content.
Yeah.
Barclay, how do you feel about this?
Well, I think I agree with the statement that it should have been pulled, mostly because it's tone deaf for the audience that is currently reading Batgirl. I think that they're doing Joker Month, and it's hard not to have anyone harken back to the Killing Joke because it's in some ways one of the most defining pieces in all of Batman.
Yeah. So, because I'm a little Batgirl dumb, what is the current vibe of the comic?
Batgirl currently is... it's not dark at all. Like they relaunched Batgirl with the new 52, and then they recently revamped her costume and kind of personality again within the past couple months. And she's
bubbly, right?
She's a little bubbly. She's very much of a teenager. She's using cell phone. Like it's a really cool style, and I really like the Batgirl books because it brings some of that youthfulness that a lot of the Batman universe has lost, especially in the main canon. Batman has gotten very dark and gritty, and I love that, and it's awesome. But occasionally, it's nice to have that kind of
a Teen Titans.
Yeah, right. And because even Teen Titans is a little bit edgy at times now.
Yeah.
So it's a nice. It harkens back to what maybe Dick Grayson used to be when he was Robin, and now he's gone on to become Nightwing, and Tim Drake as the current Red Robin. He's basically a Batman character, so she's able to bring that youthfulness back in.
And he was funny, and he never said something, holy sexual assault, Batman.
Yeah. So if I'll jump in and say my actual opinion about this whole thing, like I agree with what you said, Barclay, that it is tone deaf for the intended audience. I by no means think this should have been pulled.
Right.
Like I would have left it up there, and it's not out of insensitivity. I just feel like there's no reason to censor that. The artist put that up there. The problem is I don't think people understand what it was referencing at all.
I mean, in the past, Batgirl, she's been subject to a lot of really kind of effed up violence.
Sure. And for me, like, one of the comments I saw was that some people think that she shouldn't be defined by her trauma, but in a lot of ways, all of us are defined by our traumas.
So is every superhero.
Exactly. Like, Batman has lost his parents.
Right.
Well, even in... I read an argument where they said, like, well, you can still allude to that stuff within the books, but why does it have to be on the cover? And I'm like, well, I get that, but then at that point, then, if this really is a trigger warning for somebody, then... And the problem with this is, it's hard to say what's going to be a trigger for everybody.
Right. I
with
mean,
something
if
like
you've
this.
been on Imager, Tumblr, God forbid Tumblr. Oh God, sorry, I just make people mad. If you go on Tumblr, there are people who are like, tag, for the love of God, tag this as gore, and it's a pomegranate. I mean, there are so many things out there on the internet that people are ultra sensitive to, and I'm not saying this is an ultra sensitive subject, but there are a lot of things on the internet that people want you to tag as a trigger when they're not really triggers. This is definitely, easily, obviously, a trigger for some people. I don't really like to say the word trigger because it's so overused and kind of meh, but
I think the other thing to take into consideration that this is a variant. You know, this isn't a thing that there's would have been a bunch of them out there. It wasn't going to be like a front store
It's
shelf
not. It's
thing.
a poll. It's someone's called in and set up their draw for the week, and it's their variant cover.
So here's why I don't think they should pull it. And this is kind of not in the same vein as what you guys are saying, but comics are one of the most socially accepting mediums out there for people anymore. I mean, there's gay superheroes, there's a gay wedding, there's...
it's been that way for years.
Yeah.
They've tackled drug abuse, they've tackled political issues, they've tackled sexual issues, you know, and usually before any other mainstream media does. And they do it in a really well done manner.
Yeah, it's always really positive. And this... I mean, if they're trying to connect with the audience who is teenage girls, then this is Batgirl. I don't really know who the audience for Batgirl is, but if she's a bubbly teenage girl, I'd assume that that's kind of their target audience, and this is an issue for them.
Yeah.
But
it's also,
degree.
and I totally agree though. I mean, Barclay's statement at the beginning of this is completely valid. It is tone deaf for the type of material that Batgirl is. But again, it's a variant, and I will say that again, it harkens back to The Killing Joke, and there's a quote. I'm gonna paraphrase the quote from Alan Moore, but when he approached DC executives and editors for writing The Killing Joke, and he was bringing up the idea of what he was going to do to Barbara Gordon, one of the editors was like, "Yeah, let's cripple the bitch," you know. And he openly admits, he's like, "That's probably one of the times where DC should have reined him in," and he realized it later on.
But on the other hand, we have this seminal moment in Batman's history.
Absolutely, yeah. Created a new character, gave
gave
Barbara Gordon new depth as Oracle.
Yeah. It showed that for the social message that I was getting at earlier, it shows that you are more than your trauma.
Yeah,
right. I mean, all these things can happen, but you can still go beyond that. And it doesn't have to define you.
I don't like the idea of whitewashing this cover and just pulling it completely. I wish DC would release it in a collective or just keep it as a viable piece of canon art, but...
Yeah. I mean, the sad thing is, sad and good. DC and the artist have every right. I mean, the artist requested it pulled, I think probably just out of... He just didn't want to be involved in the controversy, I think.
It's because it's think about.
It spawned 3 people sitting at a table in Kansas to talk about it.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I don't think it should have been pulled. I think it should have stayed out there. I don't, it's your choice to put your money towards it if you want to purchase that cover or not, And again, it's not going to be out there on the store shelves. It's not going to be this big.
But that still doesn't really make it any better.
It doesn't, but you're the one to decide what is better for you at that point, though.
What I'm getting at is we keep saying it's just an alt cover. You're not going to see it everywhere. It still doesn't remove the fact that it exists and that it's a controversy. I just want to kind of...
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. I don't want that. Again, at the start of this, we're going to put our foot in our mouths, and I'm definitely putting my foot in my mouth at this point. But
I like that we're sitting in the spectrum of opinions. So I'm in the middle. You're on one side, and Garrick's definitely on the other.
Yeah. Don't touch me.
Okay, so there you have it. I mean, let us know in the comments below. What do you think? Should it have been pulled? Should it not have been pulled? Does it offend you? Does it not offend you? We want to know, because this is actually kind of a polarizing subject and issue. So if you like this video, please give us a like and a subscribe and share with your friends. As always, for any more of your DC news, you can stay here at the Safe State. See you guys next time.